Hey guys, it's Kevin, my review for the highly anticipated new Terry Gilliam film, The Man Who Killed Don Quixote. And what The Man Who Killed Don Quixote is essentially about is we center on the character of Toby. He is this advertising sort of director, and he's become very disgruntled. He used to be very passionate. He used to really enjoy what he was doing, but he's become very disgruntled and sort of down on his luck. And basically, after shooting this commercial, which really is not turning out the way he wants to, he decides to go back to his old set, which has been completely overrun. The people are still there, but there is basically, it seems like they are in this fantasy where the lead actor believes that he is Don Quixote, and he believes that Toby is his basically sidekick Sancho. So basically, Toby is then goes on this adventure with Don Quixote and basically trying to relive his glory days, but also try to get a hold on what's exactly going on. So The Man Who Killed Don Quixote, I was very excited for this film. Not just because of the premise and things like that, which I did think was very creative, and I really do love Terry Gilliam as a director. I think he has just such strange, creative ideas, and usually they turn out really well. But even more than that was the fact that this is a project that he has been trying to make for years now. It's been 25 years in the making. There's been so many various script revisions and things like that. So just the fact that he's finally able to release this to the public, that alone had me very excited for it. I love the fact that, this is a director, and I love when any director gets to express their work, something that is very special to them, something that they really do love and they want people to see. I mean, that's something that I absolutely love, and I just love getting to see people, happy that their work and their vision is out there, and I cannot be more happy that it's finally out there. But that's why it's very disappointing for me to say that while I do think that this film has some very interesting ideas, I just don't think it really works as a whole, and I'm going to get into that, but we're going to start off, of course, with the cast. And I will say this, while I do think there are quite a few problems with this movie, the cast really isn't one of them. I think everyone really does do a very good job here. But let's first talk about Adam Driver as a character of Toby, an actor that's just been knocking it out of the park recently, and this is definitely no exception. I really did like this character. You can see that Toby is someone who is very passionate about movies, and he wants to try to make the best story possible, but he's constantly stifled. There's a lot of commercialism and things like that that really is getting to this character, and I think Driver just does a really great job, not only playing, like I said, someone who is very disgruntled, but someone who, once he is involved in the adventure, is learning to have fun again, learning to just embrace it, and I think he was just, you could tell that he really did revel in that. He's a lot of fun to watch. He has some really great scenes throughout the film. He's a very good character, and I really did like where I ended up taking him. Overall, I thought Driver did a very strong job here for sure. But easily the star of this entire film, without a doubt, is Jonathan Pryce as the character of Javier. Now, of course, Javier thinks that he is Don Quixote throughout it, and this concept, it could have been really dumb, but Pryce really rises to the occasion, and he really does go all out here. I loved what he ended up doing. He was so fun in this role, and you don't even care that, clearly he has this very serious mental illness, because you're just kind of having fun with it. I thought he did a really great job here. There's a lot of great one-liners he has throughout the film, and the rapport between him and Adam Driver I thought was very strong. I thought the two of them worked very well together, and I really do think Pryce is very well casted here. In terms of the rest of the cast, everyone does do a solid job. Joana Ribeiro, if that's how you pronounce it, I thought she was really good here as this girl that, Toby has always had feelings for, and now it seems like he's finally trying to rekindle that relationship. I really did like where they end up going. Angelica as a character, we'll talk about her in a little bit, but I really did like where she ended up going. Stellan Skarsgard's very good here. Olga Kurylenko. Really, everyone does do a very good job in terms of acting here. But now I really want to get to the directing and the writing, because that's where this film unfortunately starts to fall apart. Because to me, look, I get it that Terry Gilliam, he really wanted to make this film. He wanted to be the best that it could possibly be. But considering the way it was directed, I can understand why it's taken so long to get financed, because this film in general, it just feels very tonally inconsistent. The first half of this film, like the first act or so, and like the beginning of the second act, is a lot of fun. It's clearly trying to be a satire on the Hollywood industry, how just, absolutely just, again, how much they focus on commercialism, how much they focus on just what's going to make us the most profit. They don't really seem to care that much about the quality. How much they are sort of pigeonholing, the character of Toby. All that stuff is really good. And once Toby does set out on that adventure, it is definitely a lot of fun, and I think they do a very good job with that. However, at the end of the second act and into the third act, the film takes a far more serious turn, and I just don't think it works very well. It feels like these were two very different script revisions, and Gilliam was just so eager to release this film that he didn't really want to just choose. He's like, all right, I'll pick both of them, and I'll try to put them both in here. And again, props to him for making this movie, but I just do not think it works at all. I mean, the tone of this film, it's not blended very well together, and the direction here, it's just confusing. I don't understand what he was trying to go for here. There are things he'll do in the first act of the film, and then the third act kind of contradicts it, and that really leads me into the writing, which just in general is lacking a lot. Look, the first act of the movie, like I said, while it is a lot of fun, there's a lot of stuff it's trying to say about the Hollywood industry. At least for a while, it seems like the comedy is sort of undermining everything. He's way too reliant on humor and just trying to make you laugh. And look, when the film is funny, it is funny. Like, it definitely does deliver quite well, and I do think they did a good job with that. The problem is, I felt like the humor was sort of veering away from the story, what Gilliam was really trying to do. And I don't know if Gilliam or Tony Grisoni, the other screenwriter, is at fault here for that. But once the second act comes around, once the film turns into something different, a lot of the things in the first act of the film, it just feels like they weren't supposed to be that way. For example, you have the character of Javier, Jonathan Pryce, who, like I said, at first in the film, he's a lot of fun. He clearly has this very serious mental illness where he thinks he's Don Quixote, but you're just kind of having fun and you're along for the ride. But then you have this whole thing going on where people are sort of laughing at him and people are treating him like this laughing stock. And okay, like, sure, I feel bad for him, but you just had me do the exact same thing in the first act. So why would you have me laugh at this character if you're trying to say that that's wrong? I really don't understand what he was going for there. Like, 1 second, it's like, all right, yeah, this character has a very serious illness, but it's a lot of fun, and he's cracking all these jokes, and whoop-de-doo, it's a lot of fun, go along for the ride. But then, once it transitions, it feels more like we're supposed to feel bad for this character, and that we're supposed to feel bad the fact that people are just mocking him and laughing at him, and I don't think it works very well. I get it that Toby changes as a character, and I understand that, but just tonally, it just does not really work. And once we get to that second act, there is a lot more going on from a substantive perspective, but the film feels like one half of it is far too focused on comedy, and the other half is far too focused on drama. It needed more of a balance, and it just really didn't have that, and I just feel like that really did hurt this film overall, and it sucks, too, because a lot of what they talked about in the second and third act, I do think is really interesting. This idea that screenwriters, they don't really care about the players involved. As long as they can make a story out of it, as long as they can get people entertained, that's all that matters to them. These people that Toby is working with are so corporate and selfish. All they seem to care about is making money. All they seem to care about is that final product. They don't care about the people involved. They don't care about the fact that Javier has this mental illness. And, the way that Toby sort of transitions from that, again, all that is very interesting, but it just contradicts a lot of what that first act was doing. And it just doesn't really work as a whole. It also ends in a way that is so baffling, and I legitimately don't know what they were trying to go for here. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, so that really didn't work for me. I will say the story that I did really like is the one centered on him and this character Angelica. Where they end up going with that, I thought was actually really well done, and I thought it was actually a really sweet sort of story, and I wish they would have focused on it a little bit more. You know, it's a little too focused on just Jonathan Pryce cracking jokes, and I think if it had more of a focus on him and Angelica, I think the film could have actually been really good, because those two are really great. There's a really great story going on there. There's years of history between them that I definitely really did enjoy overall, and I thought was very well done there for sure. But Toby and Javier are just not interesting at all. Like I said, everyone else that Toby's working with, they're just cliche corporate characters that, oh, they want money and they're doing all this deceptive shit, and it's just not interesting at all. Stellan Skarsgard is completely wasted here. Great actor, but he has almost nothing to do in this movie. Same with Olga Kurylenko. I did not care about these characters at all. So yeah, the screenplay in general, it's a bit of a mess. It really seems like Gilliam was just very eager to, like I said, release this film. He wanted to get it out as soon as possible, and he just didn't really care about that one last revision that I do think was very much needed here. The cinematography, though, in this film is beautiful. It is absolutely gorgeous, just the landscapes and things like that, especially the look of the set that Toby is on. It's gorgeous to look at. There's a lot of great locations there, a lot of weird stuff he does do that I really did enjoy. I think the look and feel of this film is great. I really do love what Gilliam was trying to accomplish from a stylistic perspective. All of that is very well done. The score also, I really do enjoy the sort of Spanish score that looms over the entire film. That definitely is also very well done, and I really enjoyed that. And the editing, I do think this film is too long. It's almost 2.5 hours, and you really do start to feel it drag after a while, especially once that second act comes around. It really does start to drag, and I think there were quite a few moments that they really could have cut down on the comedy, cut down on a lot of the characters that I don't care about, and I think you could have had a really great film here. Ultimately, this is a film that I really want to root for. I love the fact that Gilliam got to release this. I love the fact that the public is now finally being exposed to this film. I love the fact that he continued to fight for it even when people were telling him that it just wasn't going to work out. I mean, hell, Gilliam made this documentary that was supposed to be this film. You know, it was supposed to be centered around the story that he's trying to tell here, but he couldn't get a financer. It didn't work out for him, so it just turned out to be a regular documentary. This was back in the 90s. Johnny Depp was supposed to be in the role. So just thinking about where he's gotten from then till now, it's a crazy story, and I am so happy he was able to finally get it done. It's just unfortunate that this film in general, I'm not very fond of. I feel like it's very tonally inconsistent. I think it is trying to say some interesting things about Hollywood, but considering the way the film ends, the comedy that's throughout it, it just doesn't really come together for me. And I think if he would have revised it, like I said, one more time, it could have been a much better film. So overall, while there are definitely things to enjoy, the acting, the cinematography is really good, the social commentary, which, like I said, is really well done. There is some really fun comedy. Jonathan Pryce is just so good in the role overall. Unfortunately, this film just did not come together for me. And so at the end of the day, I am going to give The Man Who Killed Don Quixote overall a C+. So over, guys, to my review of The Man Who Killed Don Quixote. Let me know what you guys saw this movie overall, left your thoughts, and we'll see you guys in my next video. Also, guys, just a bit of an announcement real quick. I was, in fact, while I was sort of away from YouTube for a little bit, because as I told you guys, I just did not have access to anything. But while I was away, I was on 2 of my friends' channels, both Diego Coya's and 22 Tiger Dude's most anticipated of the summer videos, and I was on both of them, along with a couple other friends I have on here as well, that you guys have seen on here as well. So definitely check that out if you guys haven't. A lot of fun stuff for sure. I will link both of their channels down below. If you haven't subscribed, you absolutely should. They are both very good at what they do, and it is definitely worth checking out. Other than that, guys, that's really it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you guys in my next video, and we'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.